Oh, okay. So today we are going to be doing some recap on what we did in the last week. I believe most of us did not understand it very well. It's always like that. You know, once you are about to learn something good, that also impacts to your skills and your activities. It's always like that. But if you look at the corny ways of learning it and you thought of dropping it, then you are dropping something that is good. So, and the reason being that most of the things we are saying in these sections, some of them might be new to some of us, while some of them might not be new to us. But if you follow me and take time to study very well, I believe you are going to get it, because there's nothing impossible to know. Myself that I'm taking you, someone also taught me. So even when I have not even known anything in terms of analysis, so, and I believe you also can get to know it better than I do. So today we'll be working with SPSS, because that is the tool we are using to do some little analytical skills that we will be doing, because there are a lot of softwares you can use in analysis, but the most common ones and even the easiest to say is SPSS, and with SPSS you also can go far on it. So today we are going to be doing some recap, as I've said. So I'll be sharing my screen so that we all can see some of the things I'll be saying. And please, if you have your softwares with you, which have, I believe that every one of us should have theirs. Please, let's open it. And in every operations we are doing, please try to follow and also do yours too. So, and if you have questions, please, at the end of the class, you can ask, and then we are going to just do justice to it. And that is on that. So I will be sharing my screen now for us to see what I'm presenting. Now, in the last class, we tried to introduce to ourselves how we can input data into SPSS. And I said that imputation is of two folds. Most of the times, you might be interested in maybe you have a data that is in form of questionnaire. So today I'll be showing us a sample of a questionnaire, but it will be an questionnaire because I know every one of us know what a questionnaire is. And secondly is that there are some data in which might not even be in questionnaire form, that it will be in form of raw data, like data that is being collected from different organizations. You know, sometimes, let me give an example of medical data. When talk of, in the last class, I made mention of malaria. It's not only medical data you can get in secondary. There are a lot of data you also can get in secondary. If you look at you going to maybe take for example, you go to your department in the school, and you demand for results, performance of students in some courses. So when you are collecting that, those figures is secondary. So or maybe you went to somewhere and you said you want to take the attendance of their workers. Different things like that, things that you don't need to be asking people questions. The value, the variables, the data is already available. Those ones are secondary, and we taught ourselves on how we can do that. So that is one. Secondly is that on that very day, we said when you open SPSS, if you can see my screen now, this is the interface of the SPSS. I said in SPSS we have two windows. We have the input windows, we have the output windows. For input windows, we have two views. Input windows have two views. We have the data view, which we have here, and then we have the variable view. Those are the two views we have in the input windows. For the output window is just the window that displays the results of any analysis.
Hello, sir. We can see your screen.
You didn't see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me try to reshare. Because, okay. Can you see my screen now? If you are seeing my screen, you are going to be seeing ourselves on it. So you are going to be seeing this sheet now. Can everyone see this sheet now? Before I continue.
Yes, sir. We can see it,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
I
So
can
now,
see it.
as I was saying, I said we have two windows. We have the input window, we have the output window. The input window is the section we input our information, which we are seeing now. The output window is the window that displays the results of any informations we have tried to instruct the software to do for us. Now, and after that, I said that for input window, we have two views. We have the data view, we have the variable view. If you look at my screen now, at the left-hand side, at the bottom end of the software, you are seeing the two views. You are seeing the data view, you are seeing the variable view. Now, the input views windows is the section we input our information. Now, immediately you open your SPSS and you want to work on it, and you didn't have the data. You are just at the verge of inputting the data on your SPSS. Data is just a piece of information, a raw information that is here to be processed. That's what they call the data. By the time you process it, then it becomes a valid information. So by the time you want to do this, the first stage, the first section, let's take, for example, you are dealing with questionnaire. The first section you are going to be working with in SPSS. The moment you enter into SPSS and you are interested in inputting some respondent information, the first section you are going to go to is the variable view. The variable view is the section in which we do what we call assignments of variables. Because when talk of variables, let me come down to our level. Variables is simply means questions that were asked in the questionnaire. So for example, when you take a questionnaire, in the questionnaire, you see some questionnaire, they will ask you, what's your sex? What is your age? What's your educational status? What's your marital status? Your ethnicity? Your religion status? Before they can now be asking other informations based on the objectives of the study. Now, variables in those areas, what I mean variables in those areas are the questions that were asked. Now, if I ask now, what is the variable? If you said sex, sex is a variable from that questionnaire. Age is a variable from that. So if I'm saying variable is referring to the questions that were asked. So for those of us that will be wondering what is the variable is all about, what variables are all about, variables simply means the questions that were asked on the questionnaire. And each of the questions, as you are seeing them, has options. If I said sex, in sex you have options like, is either you are a male or you are a female. That is the options you are going to be seeing. Is either you are a male or you are a female. If they ask for your age, in some situations it is of two folds. It's either you are being asked to pick from the range of age you are given. They can say from 18 below, 19 to 20, 21 to 25, 26 to 30. Those are the options for age. In some cases, they might just leave it opened. And that leads me to the different types of questionnaire you can get. Sometimes you can have what we call a close-ended questionnaire. When you see something is a close-ended questionnaire, close-ended questionnaires are questionnaires in which they have restricted you to some certain options. So you are not expected to pick anything outside those options. Those are close-ended questionnaires. When they give you open-ended questionnaire, open-ended questionnaires are questionnaires in which the respondents is having options to write whatever they like. So in a questionnaire, you can have the two together, meaning that in a questionnaire, there are some sections, there are some questions in which they are going to be written in form of close-ended, where there are some that will just be opened for you to just supply your information. For the age, I said, age in some cases might be opened, that they'll just say age dash. So if they give you that option, sometimes I can say my age is 19 years old. Someone can say 20, someone can say 21, someone can say 22. Those are open-ended questionnaire. So when you have such questions in that form, in the last class, I told us how we can treat those cases. It's just simple. So in cases, that is just two forms of questionnaires. The other questions mode we also have is what we call Likert scale. Likert scales is just that when you're dealing with Likert scale questionnaire, it's just like you dealing with close-ended. Likert scales is just like when you have questions that are asked like strongly agreed, neutral, disagreed, strongly disagreed. Those type of questions are classified as Likert scales. Now, in this section today, I will walk us through the three categories of questionnaire that you may find. These three things I have mentioned can be embedded in one single questionnaire. It doesn't mean that it is a different questionnaire forms. It's just different ways at which you can ask questions in the questionnaire. What is questionnaire? Questionnaire is just an instrument in which you use to collect information from the feed. Just an instrument used in collecting information from the feed. So now, I will be walking us through just as a recap of what we have done, because this section I've said in the last class that is the most important sections. The moment you get out to do all these things, other sections is just click, and then once you know what you want to do, you are good to go. Now, if you are to input a questionnaire, you want to assign values to questionnaires now. Take for example, let's start with the close-ended questionnaire. That is, close-ended questionnaires are questions that are asked that have been given in ranges. Now, I will start with sex. When I say sex, we have options like male, female. Now, when you are coming to SPSS to do all these things, the section at which you are going to be in all these things is the variable section, variable field section, because that is the section in which you are going to be assigning values, declarations of variables on your SPSS. The data view section, how do you identify whether you are the data view or you are the variable view? For you to identify you are the data view, what you are going to notice that at these column-wise sections, what you are seeing now, what you are going to be noticing on it is that you are going to be having VAR. That VAR is referring to variables. Variable. But if you look at the variable view, what you are seeing there is different. You are going to be seeing name, type, width, decimal, label, values, missing, column, align, measure. So that one will tell you that, okay, I'm at the variable view section. So variable view section is the section we use to do what we call declarations of our variables. You assign values, you make sometimes they say where I'm doing coding. The data view section is the section at which you are going to input respondent information. So if you look at this section now, aside the fact that you are seeing VAR, that VAR is referring to variable. The row wise is just where you are having the numbers. Those numbers will be standing for each of the respondent information. So if I start inputting my questionnaire now, and I stop at number 14, So if I want to ask myself, how many people have I input their information? I'll be categorically saying that I've inputted 14 people, because each of those numbers is standing as each of the respondent information, whereas the variable for wise is standing as the questions that were asked in the questionnaire you are inputting. I hope the information I'm passing across, I hope you are getting it. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
All right.
What's your line is breaking? Your line is breaking.
Okay, I think that's network issues. Okay, I will take it slow. So if you don't get me, please let me know. Now, so let me assume I want to do the declaration of variables now, and I'm starting with sex. Now, the first section that comes is the name. This name, in the last class, I said that this name, one, you must not start with number. Two is that it must be unique. So if I put sex in this section, throughout my declaration of names, I must not have any other variable that we have sex. That is one. So now, let me write sex now. Then I'll go to the next one, which is the type. For this type, we have different form. If you click at this dot line, it gives you some dialog. It gives you a dialog box. In the dialog box, you are going to see numeric, you are going to see comma, you are going to see dots, scientific notation, date, dollar. So depending on the type of information you are trying to input will determine what to pick here. But not to waste our time, to avoid stressing ourselves, leave your variable type at numeric. Don't worry. Unless we have special cases, which is always very, very scarce. And that has to do with when you are dealing with, sometimes when you are dealing with age that has been given in some specific form. For example, let me just give an example. If I click on date now, when I click on date, you see at the right hand side, you see some different things. See day, month, year, day, month, year. You can see the different formats which they are putting. So this one will now determine the format which the questionnaire has been written. Will determine which one to pick. And these cases is always rare. So before you can see cases which you are going to be having something of this nature, that means the research will be an international research. Most of the research we are doing in our own areas here does not need some of these things. So that is why, to avoid stressing ourselves, just leave it as numeric. With numeric, you can go on with any other thing. But if you put it as strange, it's like strange is a situation in which you are just trying to input some characters that are in alphabets. So with this, if you supply information that is in a number, when you put it as strange, it will not take it. To be flagging an error. So, but if you leave it as numeric, it will take anything. So, as this class is concerned, leave it at numeric. Then, for width, I said this one is just determining the size of the cells you are working with. Leave it as 8. Don't bother. For decimal, it's unless you are working with values that are in measurement that have some decimal numbers, some decimal places, like 3 decimal places. That is only when you are going to subject your decimals to the specific numbers of decimals your data you are inputting is having. But if your value, if your information is not having anything that has to do with decimals, please put this one at 0. Then for label is just a section at which you express yourself as if you are writing in Word document. Because at the name section here, you cannot space. And maybe the information you want to supply is more than what you have written here. So we write in short code over here. Then you have every opportunity to do that at the label. So in the label here, I can decide to say sex of the respondents. So you can space here, you can write as much as possible. It can take any characters of his choice. Just keep on writing. That is one. The other areas you also have to look at after that is the values. This section is very important when you are declaring your variables. This is the section at which we do what we call assignments. When I was talking, I said when you say sex, we have options. Option is that you are male or female. So in this section now, for SPSS, we always assign values just to make work more easier. So I said in other time that some people always have what we call code book to assign values to their options. And I said, in my own cases, because I'm actually using my own example, which the way I do things to teach in this class, is that instead of me having a code book, which is just a waste of time for me, I always arrange my numbers in terms of the questions arrangements. If in my questionnaire, the first option is male, so I will assign that male to be 1. If the second option is female, I will assign female to be 2. But if in your own case, the first option is female, assign female as 1. If your second option is male, assign male as 2. Meaning that you are not tied down to any number in any assignment of variables. You can use any number. The only thing is that always remember the number you have used to represent those options, because those are the numbers you are going to supply when you are inputting the respondent information. So if someone said it's a male, instead of me typing male, I already declare that whenever I'm dealing with sex, so 1 is representing male, 2 is representing female. So the moment you supply 1 at the point of your inputting of your information, automatically SPSS has identified it as male because you have declared it in your values as that, okay, let me click this dot now, as that 1 represents male. I will now add. What I've done at this session is that I'm saying that when I'm inputting sex of the respondent, the moment I press 1, that means I'm supplying the respondent information as male. That is the meaning. Then I also have female. I'll say 2. Female. I'll type female. Then I will add 2. If I have more options, I will do that. I'll assign 3. If I have more options, I will keep on assigning until I finish the all options. So once I'm done, I will click on OK. So that means we are done with that section. So when I'm inputting my respondent information at the sex region, the moment I said the person is male, once I put 1, automatically the SPSS has identified it as what? As male. That is that. So for the missing, this one, we always make use of it in such a way that we should not be biased in our inputting of information. There are some cases in which you are going to fill questionnaire, you are going to go to the field, and you notice that some people might not have even given information at some stages. Take for example now, at this sex region now, instead of person to pick whether it's a male or it's a female, he did not pick anything. You as a person, as a researcher, you saying that, okay, this person should be male. By you doing that, you have done what you have been biased, which is wrong. That is one case. Another case is that in some situation in which you have instructed that the person should only just pick one option, and the person ending up picking the 2 options, maybe he marks both male and female. As a researcher, which one are you going to pick? If you say, okay, let me just pick male for the person, or let me just pick female. For doing that, you're already biased, which is wrong. So when you have cases like that, what do we do? For SPSS, if you intend to leave that section without putting any information, automatically the SPSS will see it as a missing value. But if you want to be professional, you can identify and assign a number to as a missing value. So from research purpose, from experience, or from some different books, most of them always assigned numbers like 98, 99, 97 as your missing, because they believe that when you are declaring your variables, you are making your options, it is very hard for you to see options that will range up to 99. It's very hard for you to have a variable that will range up to 97. So they always use a value that it will not be a value that will be used when you are doing your coding. So that is what they do. So if I want to assign a missing value now, I'll just click on these three dots. At this section, you are seeing a dialog box. That one is saying no missing value. That is if there is no missing value. But if assuming you are interested that maybe there may be, then you are going to click discrete missing values. When you click that discrete missing value, these three boxes will come up. It is not compulsory you fill the three. You can only fill one. If you like, you can fill the two. If you like, you can fill three. But in most cases, just fill one. Let me say, I just say 97. Meaning that whenever I see anybody that have inputted or that have answered the questions in a wrong form, instead of me picking something for him, which will end up me being biased, then I'll assign 97 to that particular area. So the moment I do that, I'll click OK. So I'm done. So when I have any cases that is like the two examples I've cited, and I press 97, automatically at this section, the SPS would have seen it as what? As a missing values. So when you are doing analysis, it will shift out those cases and then give you the numbers of people that have inputted a missing information, and will give you the number of people that have inputted the correct information. And at the end of the day, it will automatically give you the exact statistic results based on the people that have filled the correct information. So that is that. So the next section, the next area in which is of more concern is the measure. So the columns, the outline, don't worry about those ones. The measure is another section you need. If you click on this section now, which is measure, you are going to be seeing scale, ordinal, nominal. In my last class, I said those three have meanings. Scale, if you see the sign, it looks like a ruler. That is why, that means that whenever you are declaring a variable in which it looks like a measurement, I gave us some example that very day, like age, like height, like weight. Those cases are under cases that fall under scale. That is, they are continuous in nature. So when that looks like that, then you are going to assign scale to them. For ordinal, if you look at it very well, that symbol under that ordinal, you see that it looks like a graph that has a bar that is greater than each other. That means that those variables that will be assigned as ordinal will be variables that their options are not the same. Then, for example, I give an example in the last class. I said, when talk of performance, good, poor, fail, they are not the same thing. The person that is good, that the score is good, or that is excellent, is not equal to the person that is having a good mark. And it's not equal to the person that is having a fail score. And it's not equal to the person that has a poor score. Second option is not.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. People are waiting to be admitted to the group. So people are waiting to the graph.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. All right. I've done that. Please, can you see my screen? I'm back to the sheet again. Okay. So I'm actually talking about the ordinal. Please, are we seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So ordinal. Now, I've given an example of performance. Another cases of such is when you have, let me say, educational status. Someone that's a school sat is not equivalent to someone that's finished a BSc. And it's not equivalent to someone that finished masters. They are different and they are higher than each other. So when you have cases like that, we assign ordinal to them. But there are some cases in which they are not ranked. They are just classified. Meaning that no class is better than the other. And those cases, take for example, when we have sex. Whether you are a male or you are a female, one is not better than the other. You are only classifying them into sex, into different groups. So in such cases, maybe color, you only classify. If you say white is better, that is based on your own preference. Color is color. It's not better. If you say red, it's based on your own preference. So preference does not judge this. That is just classifications. States, we can have southwest, southeast, south-south. So those are classifications. When you have cases like that, that in nature, they are not in ranking order, then we are going to assign nominal to them. So for this case, which is sex, the best measure is nominal. So I'm good with that. Another example is when you have, let's assume I want to do marital status. I will now press marital status. I want to press marital and status together. I space and I put status. If I go to the next line, it will not go. It will flag an error. It's a variable name contains an legal character. Reason being that at this section, I cannot space. So instead of you can decide to write just a marital. And if you don't want to do that, you can write it together. Marital, status. I wrote them together. Then it will not say anything to accept because I didn't space it. But instead of you worrying yourself with this, you can just put anything like just short code. Let's say, okay, let me just marital. It doesn't have any meaning. It's just for you to just assign a name to it, for you to be able to know which question are you dealing with. So that's just the essence of that. It doesn't have any influence on your analysis. It doesn't. So numeric, then the decimal I can just put 0, as I've said the other time. Now in this section of label, then I can now express myself. Okay, marital. I can now write marital status. There will not be any problem in this section if you take it. So when you are doing your analysis, what you have written at this label, it's what you are going to be seeing at the analysis section. So this name section is just for you to just assign something so that you are going to be following up with whatever information, your questions you are doing. So this one will just tell you that, okay, I'm at the sex section, I'm at the marital section, I'm at this, that is what this is all about. It doesn't affect any of your analysis. So for the marital status, if I click on these values now, I'll have this dialog box and say 1, to be married. I will add 2, to be single. So don't mind the way I'm arranging it. You can do it depending on how the question goes. I'm just giving the options out. 3, so divorced. So 4, in some cases, they can say separated. Separated and divorced are the same thing. So we have widow too. So depends on what they gave you in the option. So you can just keep on putting it till you exhaust all the options for that question. Then I'll click OK. So the missing also, if you like, you can put. If you like, you may leave it. It doesn't have anything to do. Even though you don't put anything as missing here, the moment you are filling your information on your data view, and the person have inputted something wrong, or you have supplied the information that is wrong, the moment you skip that particular section, or you skip that particular person's information, automatically, the moment you skip it, it will dot it, automatically is at missing. Automatically, the system will put it at missing. So, for the case of the practice, let me just put, at this case, 97. That is, the person does not fit the important information. Then, for the measure, I will now decide, is it the scale, is it the ordinal, is it nominal? For this one, it's nominal because it's just based on classifications on how your marital status is. That is, cases in which, if you are dealing with close-ended questionnaires, Now, let me now go to another form of questions that you can also have in a questionnaire, which is open-ended questionnaire. Open-ended. For open-ended, let me use age as an example. Age. I'll leave that numeric, as I said. For this particular decimal, I'll put it as 0. So for this label, I'll put age of respondent. Now, I'm interested in treating this one as open-ended. How do we treat cases of open-ended? Now, in this case, in open-ended, meaning that the respondent is not given an options. They are not limited to options. They were given an open questionnaire, that is, just put your age. That's what we call open-ended. So you have cases like that say just put your information. If, for example, I'm interested in asking your income, I will just leave it as open. Okay, just put the income you have at the end of the month. So someone may write 20,000, someone may write 30,000. So those cases, when you have those cases, how do you treat them in your SPSS? So for this age now, instead of me coming to these values and start putting 1 to represent this, 2 represent this, 3 represent this, in these cases that are open-ended, I will not do anything at this section. I will leave it at none. I'll now go to other section. So this one, maybe I can still put 97, as I've said. You can still put it. But mind you, depends on the variable options you have in. So it doesn't matter that in all the cases you are going to put 97, you can change it. But mind you, always remember what you have used as your missing values at every section, so that you don't put a wrong figure at those areas. So after doing that, I'll come to the measure. So for age is under scale. Let me have another information that is open-ended. Let me say income. I'll put this one 0. At this level, I said, let me say I'm interested in having their monthly income. Monthly income. Then since I'm just giving them to just supply me with their monthly income, I will not do any assignment here. I will not assign numbers to any of the values. I'll just leave it as open, which I've done here. I'll go to the next section. Then for measure, I'll put it as it's still under scale. That's to do with continuous values. So I've treated cases in which you have for close-ended. I've treated cases if you are dealing with open-ended. Now, let me do it with the last case, which is Likert scale. Because you have been seeing questionnaire that will say strongly agreed, disagreed, strongly agreed. So for Likert scale, the way you will treat the close-ended questions, that is also the way you are also going to treat Likert scale questions. Take for example, let me assume I'm interested in asking the taste of the food. So let me just put taste here. I put the then I'm gonna say taste of let me say mimi chin chin. Mimi chin chin. Sorry, don't say why I put mimi chin chin. I like mimi chin chin. So mimi chin chin. So now let's say the question is like I think this one will not go well. Okay, let's say the question goes that way. Maybe the taste of maybe the question is that. So the question I write the question is that. Maybe the question is that. Let me put the question. The taste, because they will give a question that will now be asking you that you are strongly agreed. It's like the taste of the jollof rice. Maybe there's an experiment they are doing on jollof rice. Okay. Okay, let me put it this way. Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof. I think there's always a fight on that jollof per country. So now, this is the question they ask. So it is not left for you to say strongly agreed, agreed, disagreed, neutral. So that's so in this option now, I'll come here, I'll say 1. Maybe the first option they have there is strongly agreed. I'll put strongly agree. I will add 2. Sorry, I want to add some. 2 is that they said agree. Add 3. Don't know. You had 4. Disagree. You had 5. Strongly disagree. You had. So let's assume that that's the scale I have, because sometimes we have 5 Likert scales, we have 7 Likert scales, depending on the option. So this is just the most common ones. After I'm done with this, I will add. Then I'll go on with other variables. So with this now, I'll just, so in as much as for cases in which you cannot identify which of the best options is best for these particular questions, and from your judgment, you can see that it's not that it's a ranking order question. So leave it at nominal. For these cases, it's always at nominal. So you can see that the way I treated cases that are like us case also is same as the way I've treated close-ended questionnaire. So let's assume those are the questions I have, and you keep on asking those questions like that. So that's how I'll be doing my questions from question 1 to question 2 to question 3 to question 4 to question 5 to question 6. Maybe you have 20 questions. Till you finish all the questions, everything will keep on going down, 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 down. When you are done with the variable declarations, as I'm doing now, you are done with it, everything. Then that is now when you are now going to start inputting the respondent information, because you have already administered the questionnaire. The people have filled for you. Now you want to supply the information. So this is first thing you are going to do. So then I've done this. Now I want to input my response, my respondent responses. Now the second section I will now go to is to go back to my data view. Now on getting to data view, every information I've worked on, every questions I have worked on variable view, you are going to be seeing them on data view. So those areas you are seeing VAR, you could see that what all of them has been override with the information you have supplied at the variable view. So you can see sex now, you can see marital, you can see age, you can see income, you can see taste. So that is this. So now let's assume that I want to input the information. So I pick the first questionnaire. When I pick the first questionnaire, the respondent said is a female. I have inputted female to be 2. I'll put 2 here. After that, I go to the second question, marital status. Maybe the person said is married. I've assigned married as 1. I'll put 1 here. When I get to the age, the person said he's 19 years old. Okay, let me say the person said he's 25 years old. I will type 25. Because this age was not given in close-ended. You just supplied the information. So the person have written 25. I will type 25. The second question asks, what is your monthly income? He said, from where I'm working, my monthly income at the end of the month is 15,000. I'll put 15,000. I asked, a test of the jollof rice. Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof. He said, strongly agreed. He picked strongly agreed. And if I sign 1 for strongly agreed, I'll press 1. I'll go to the next one. Automatically, in as much as you have finished the information for the first person, the moment you click next on your system, it will automatically go to the second respondent, meaning that that questionnaire you are holding at that point, you have exhausted all the information, then you are dropping it, you are picking the second questionnaire of another person response. As I picked the second questionnaire, when I opened it, the respondent said he is a male. What is 1? I'll put 1. I asked at the section of the marital status, they said, what is your marital status? The person picked single, and I've assigned 2. For single, I'll press 2. I go to the next question, age. I checked, what age is this person? The person said, I'm 19 years old. I will type 19. They ask, what is your monthly income? Maybe the person has started working, but is taking stipends from the family. Maybe like pocket money. Maybe the person said, okay, at every month, I'm taking 10,000. I will type. I go to the next one. The question, jollof, Ghana jollof, and the Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof. The person said, no, I know Ghana jollof, but I don't know, I know Nigerian jollof, but I don't know Ghana jollof. So I cannot say the taste of Nigeria is better than, so he picked don't know, and don't know is 3. I'll type 3. Then I'll go to the next question. As you are doing that, you're already supplying the informations of the respondents. So gradually, the questionnaires, you are filling them, you are supplying the information to the SPSS, and then it's reducing till you get to the end of the last questionnaire. And that is why I said, when you are inputting such cases, each of the questionnaire will have been numbered. Maybe when you are typing and you are rushing, you have made a mistake. By the time you check the number at which the mistake comes in, maybe at this place, maybe it's at number 2. What you are going to do is just to trace back your questionnaire and check which of the questionnaire is numbered number 2. And once you pick it, you can rectify the information. I pick another questionnaire. In the questionnaire, the person picked that's a female. Marital status. The person said, okay, I'm divorced. 3. What is your age? He said, I'm 35. What's your monthly income? Maybe say 50,000. The test said, okay, agreed, which is 2. I keep on supplying the information. That's how I'll be doing it till I'll finish the questionnaires I'm working on. So when you are dealing with questionnaires, this is how we get it done. Meaning that you are already inputting your information. Because one of the first line of action in any analysis you want to do is that you must be able to know how to put your information on that software. So if you are working on a questionnaire, the way you are going to input or you are going to supply your information to the SPSS you are working with is this particular way I'm teaching you now. So that is if you are working with a questionnaire instrument. But if you are not working with a questionnaire instrument, that's only the case or the only reasons why you are going, when you are not going to input it this way. Because another instrument, you might have a data that is already secondary. You already have the figures already. So what do? It's just the way you are going to do those ones is the way you have treated your open-ended questionnaire. What you need to do is just to supply the name of that variable you are dealing with, and then leave the value at none. Don't put any coding. Just come here, just start inputting your information. The third areas of concern is sometimes your data might have been inputted in Excel, and you want to work on that data on SPSS. In those cases, you're only going to import. Yes, so the moment I finish this section, I'm going to teach us how to do that. So now I've supplied the information. Let's just assume these are my questionnaires I'm working with. So all these 1, 2, 3 you are seeing, they are representing something. If I want to know what are they standing for, at this section you have this section. If you put your cursor there now, you are going to be seeing it as value labels. If I click on it now, it will change the information from number to the exact particular information they are standing for, which you are seeing now. You are seeing male, female, single, divorce, and the numbers. So that is how we input information that requires questionnaire on SPSS. So at this section, I want to pause a little bit to ask, do we get this concept? Do we explain it? Do we understand? Can we do it ourselves? If you have a questionnaire, can we do it to this stage? I want some response, please, so that I will be able to know whether I've communicated or not.
Yes, sir. I can do it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm happy to say that. I'm happy you said that.
Okay, I'm actually following, but the issue I'm having is after inputting the number, it's converting it back to married, male, female. The number is not staying.
Okay. If you have done it correctly at the variable view, which we have done here, you have assigned.
Yes.
So now back to
data finish assigning. So when I enter 2, which is supposed to be female, it's still staying at female instead of going to 2.
Instead of going to 2, it's still staying as female. Okay, that's
yes. And when I write 2, it's
okay. Instead of just staying at 2, it's automatically showing the information.
Where should I go back to?
Now, what is this that as the data view now you are seeing now? This, are you seeing this symbol on your system? This symbol that has A1, that is
okay. The A and high. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Click on it. That is the sign we use to
I've got
from number 2. You have gotten that.
Okay, I've gotten it. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Yes. So in some other fashion, it may not look like this, but it's always there. What the name of this is, if you put your cursor there, it will give you the name as value labels. Value labels. So that is the work that particular symbol is doing. Now, then for example, let's assume I'm not the one that do this work, and I want to know the information they have supplied at each of these variables, these questions. I want to know, and I don't want to bother myself going to variable view to be checking them one by one over here. How can I get the information without coming to variable view? If you look at this SPSS now, at this section under your graph, you see this symbol you have it under the graphs. If you put your cursor there, it gives you the name variables. If I click on it, it will bring a dialog box out for me. If you see the dialog box now, if I want to know the specific information on all the variables I have, I will be able to see it. Now, you see at this section when I have sex of respondent, it gives me the whole information, the whole biographic information that, okay, for this particular variables you are talking about, the name they have assigned to it is sex. And they have put the label as sex of respondents. Type F8. F8 means numeric. Missing, they have assigned 97. Measurement, they have assigned nominal. Now, for the coding, they have assigned 1 for the male, and they have assigned 2 for the female. With this, there's no information you want to know again, because every information you have supplied at the variable view is already here. So what I want to go and check at the variable view, because I don't know what they have used in assigning for male, in assigning for female, and I want to work on that particular questionnaire, but I'm not the one that work on the variable view, and I'm given that assignment to do. I'm given the instruction to complete the questionnaire. Will I now go back to the variable view and be checking one by one to be able to know what the person have used? You don't have to do that. Just come to this section I said. If I want to know for the marital status, once I click marital status now, it will give me the marital status. For marital status, the name they have assigned is marital. The label, marital status. Type F8. F8 is numeric. Missing 97. Measure nominal. So what have they used in coding? They have assigned 1 for married, 2 for single, 3 for divorce, 3 for widow. So every information I need on that particular variable has been given to me. So I don't have to bother to go to variable. So That is the work of that particular button I'm saying. So in every information you do, it is important that you know how to save, because most of the time you might not complete a task at a go. Maybe I'm working on this now and I'm tired and I want to suspend it for the next day. You don't have to say, I don't want to close this thing because I don't want to lose information. You can save it. Now, there are two forms at which you can save. One, you can come to this file and click save. When I click save, it will give me this dialog box. It will be telling me to put the name of the file, the file name. Then, if I say training class 2, the saving type, leave it at SPSS as you have here. Don't change this one. The only thing you want to do is just put the name. Then, the second thing is that you can automatically direct the saving to a particular area you want. Let's assume I want to be sure of where I want to. I can click on at this section where you have look in. If you trace it to the other side, you see a drop box button. Click on it. With this button, you can always go to any directory of your choice. Let's assume I want to put it on desktop. I'll click desktop. The moment I click desktop, so that means that I'm already at the environment of desktop now. The moment I click save, it's already saved. You can see that the moment I click saved, another window comes up. That is output window, telling me that I've saved the file. So I can close this or I can minimize it. So when you want to close it, because the information you have there, you don't need it. It says save content. I don't need to save the output. I can put it as no. But if it's something I need, I can save it. That is one. But notice that immediately I saved, I want to show us a button here. On that edits, there's a button here. The button here is a button of save. It's a symbol of save. So instead of going to file to do save as, you can always come to this subwire sign and click on it for saving. So because the information I have here is already saved, that's the reason why this one is not coming up again. But the moment I keep on supplying another information, then it will come up again. That is one. So I've saved it. Let's now assume I close my SPSS. Let's assume I close my SPSS. And I want to, after some minutes, maybe some hours after resting, and I decide to continue the work again. So I will assume that I'm trying to open another spreadsheet as a new file, which is like this. If I open my SPSS. Now, and I want to call for that particular information I've saved. What I'll do is that I'll come to file. I'll come to open. And because the information I want to open is a data information, not an output information, then I will trace my cursor to where I have my data. I will click on data. It will give me my dialog box. Then I will try to locate the section at which I've saved that file. Let's assume I've saved the file at desktop region and at document region. And with this one I have here, I'm saying the desktop. What I will do is that I'll come to this dialog box, this Dropbox button. I'll click on it. I'll try to locate documents. I'll click documents. Once I click documents, it will give me all the information on my documents. But for this case now, I've saved my own file on desktop. Then I'll come back to this Dropbox again. I'll come to desktop. Then I will try to trace the information out. You can see as I'm scrolling, I'm sliding to the other side of the box. Yes, you can see the information I saved, training class 2. I'll click on it. After clicking on it, I will now click on open. Once I click on open, automatically it will open the information for me. So that is how you can save and also you can retrieve back your information. So that you don't say that when we are being taught this thing, they didn't teach us how to save. But now I'm tired. I want to save. I want to do another thing. I'm not interested in doing this again. And I want to come back to this information. Will I leave it open? Will I leave it till I finish it? No. You can save and then come back anytime you want. And you can always retrieve your information. That is one. The second option is that you can also decide to open it. Another way we can open is that you can always trace your information back to your documents of your desktop. This is my desktop. If you look at it very well, you are going to see the information where you save. At my own desktop here, this is information. If you double click on it, automatically it will open for you. That's just another shortcut you can do in doing that. So in any one of the ways that is easy for you, or in any one of the areas you find yourself, you should be able to play around them. So that is all about how to input on SPSS. And if you are dealing with secondary data too, the data that doesn't require a questionnaire, the information has been collected from an office. You already have the value. The only difference is that each of the columns have names, and then maybe I'm interested in collecting the biodata of a set of students, maybe 100 level students. Then they will have put their name. There will be a section for their name. There will be a section for their sex. There will be a section for their height. There will be a section for their blood group. Those ones are already they are secondary data. So in those ones, what you just need to do is just to come to your variable view and treat them like open-ended. But in cases in which you have maybe they classify them as male, female, maybe you have male, female in those sections. Instead of you saying you are going to be writing typing male, female, typing male, female, you treat those ones as close-ended. But other areas, so initially when you have questions that have options, treat them like the way we have treated close-ended. In areas in which you have options that are not classified, they are not in options, they are just opened. Everybody just supply what they see. Those cases, treat them like open-ended questionnaires. Before I leave this section, the other section I want to put into this form is that if you have a data in Excel formats and you want to bring into SPSS, how will I do that? That is the next thing I want to teach us now. So if I'm having the opportunity to just give us some other manipulations, that's fine. If not, if this is the only thing we can just do tonight, it's okay. So in the next class, we don't come to this section again. We just go straight to the other manipulation areas and other particular analysis aspects. But before I go to those areas, let me teach us how we can input, how we can call in a data that is in another software. Most importantly, Excel, because in some cases, you have a set of data in Excel and you need them in SPSS. Will I now go back to Excel and be typing again in SPSS? You don't need to do that. You can call in. Maybe I went to the World Data Platform, or maybe Nigerian, maybe Central Bank of Nigeria, to download some set of data. And I want to analyze them, and I need SPSS to do that for me. Will I now go back to SPSS and now start supplying the information I'm seeing on Excel? No, you don't have to do that. You can call in that. If I want to call in a data that is in Excel, how will I do that? Now, I will go to File. I will click on Open, as I've done in the other day, in other time, and I will click on Data. When I click on Data, it opens like this. Maybe the data I want to open that is in Excel, maybe it's in a file. In my own case here, I have some data in Excel that is under this, maybe research area here. And I have it under this particular name, maybe Dr. Adekombi. Then maybe exchange rates is the data I'm working on. I open it like this. Now, but I need it in Excel, so I've not done it in. The only thing I've done here is just to locate where that particular data is. But as at the time I got to this place, I didn't see any Excel formats. The only format I'm seeing is just the SPSS format, just because that I'm in SPSS format functions. So the next thing you are going to do is that is either you do that one first or you do that one last, depending on your choice. Is that I'll come to file of type. Where you are seeing SPSS statistics, I will click on it. They have different functions. I will now come to Excel. I'll pick Excel. You can see that we have various functions. We have the various files. Sometimes we might have it in this CSV also is also Excel. But this CSV is just like a format. Sometimes some Excels are saved in what we call comma delimited. When you save a file in that format, for you to trace that file back, you have to trace it with CSV. But let's assume you just save in a normal way as Excel, as normal Excel format without just putting at delimited. You just put it as maybe as 97 to 2003. You just say that normal Excel font. Then you come to this Excel and you click on it. When you click on it and you're already at the folder at which you have saved that particular data, automatically it will bring all the Excel files for you on that folder. The moment I change to this Excel now, you can see that it has given me the information I have that is in Excel format on that particular folder, which is exchange data. I'll click on it. After clicking on it, I'll click open. It will bring a dialog box as you are seeing now. As this dialog box, you are going to see all the information that is on that Excel. Now, sometimes try to check this place where you have read variable name from the first row. If this particular is not checked, you have to check it, but automatically SPSS will check it for you. So it's going to be seeing the first row of your Excel as the variable name. If you have not done that, then you are going to be giving yourself more issues, more work to do. So, but for SPSS as this it will give you this way. You don't have to click anything again. Just leave it the way it is. Then I will now click OK. Once I click OK, it will automatically load that data for me on SPSS. Now you can see the information I have on that Excel sheet I call for is what you are seeing here now. Now, it has saved me the stress of saying that I want to be inputting this information. So this is a data which it has here. It has manufacturing output, that's net profit, that's inflation, imports, exports, exchange rates, import values. These are data that are already. Will I now be coming to SPSS and be typing it? No. And if you look at your variable view, automatically it will have given the name. If you look at the value sections, as I said, you see that it's leave it as no, meaning that it doesn't have to do with any coding, leaving that none. So when you're having those cases, that's how it will treat it. So what is left for me at this stage is just for me to go to analyze my data, because my data is already on my software. Every information I need is already there. What I want to do, the operation I want to perform is what I will just go and do, straightforward. So that is how we can import from Excel to SPSS. We are able to teach ourselves how we can automatically input from the low level, that is questionnaire, from coding of the questions down to inputting respondent informations. That has been done. We also have tried to see that if you have existing data, maybe in Excel, and you are interested in calling that data to SPSS, instead of you inputting those informations on SPSS one by one, you can call in those information directly from Excel into SPSS without any problem, which we have done. So when it comes to inputting data, supplying data into SPSS software, as at today, as at now, as at this moment, I believe this should not be a problem to any one of us again. But it is easy when someone that knows how to do it is explaining. But for you to know it better and for you to be able to be a master of this thing is to go back and practice different data forms of your choice. That is only when you are going to be satisfied that you already understand every bit of information that has been taught today. So, and that's the only way you can be a master in some of these things. So if you don't train, if you don't go and practice, then there's no shortcuts to all these things. So that's about this today. So I will not want to add more information to it. So the one I ought to do today is also on ground, but it's better for us to get it once and for all, rather than just putting Jamboree. It is not how far, but how well. So I'm interested in you. If it is only few things I will be able to teach, you should be able to do it perfectly and very well. It's better than just putting every information just for you to know that I know how to do this thing, I know this information. That is not important. The most important thing is that you that I'm teaching, how are you able to get that information? How are you able to practice on your own without anybody's support? And at the end of the day, after this particular training, you also can be able to sit and confidently say, I can work on this to this level. So that is the interest, not the volume, but the quality of what you have acquired. So at this section, I'll be stopping my class for this section to have questions from the participants so that we'll be able to answer it, and then you go back and practice different. You can lay your hands on different questions, questionnaire. Just practice different questionnaire. You don't have to just come up with this abbreviated question. There's always questionnaires around. You can Google and you can Google search for some questionnaires and see and do examples, do practice on them. So that is allowed. So that when we go to the homework, because in our next class I will not be explaining this one again. I will be bringing in existing data that is voluminous in nature. So once you are saying that, don't be scared. The way we have done all these things, that is the way they have done. They also work on it to get those volumes of data. So what I will just be doing is just how do we do this? How do we do this? If you want to do this, how do we do this? So that will be the next stage. So it will not be something of this stage again. So if you have questions before it's open, thank you all.
Sir, thank you, sir. Well done, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Assis.
You're welcome, sir.
We are grateful.
Yeah.
So, like he mentioned, please go ahead with your question. Anybody that have questions?
All right. Thank you, sir. I have a question.
All right.
Hello, please can
All
you
right,
hear me?
please go ahead.
Yes, please.
Call for an Excel existing data. I think I'm lost around that place. I don't really know what really happened. Or that is one, like, or it might be like I don't know where that Excel data is. How can I find it?
Okay. Now,
Please, I don't know.
let me repeat that information. Now, let's assume you have some set of information on your system. Just if you have, I've been practicing Excel. I've been doing class on Excel too. There are some data, there are some informations that you have been playing around with. Let's assume you have that particular information on your system. If it's on your desktop or on your documents, if you have it, or you have another information, I don't want to know the type of information you have, but you have an Excel file on your system, the system you are using. What you have to do is that at your SPSS page, go to File, then navigate to Open. At Open, you are going to be seeing different things: data, internet data, syntax, output, scripts. What concerns you at this section is just the data. So try to take your cursor to where you have your data. Click Data. When you click Data, dialog box you are seeing now will come up. When it comes up, the next line of action is that you have to locate the file you want to open. You have to locate the directory at which that file was being saved. Now, let's assume, I'm giving an example based on my own system now. Now, assuming on my system here, as you are seeing now, I have the file I'm interested in working with is on desktop. Now I'm at desktop. But I've created a folder on that desktop. I will look for the folder. I've created the folder and I named it research. I'll click on that folder, which is right. I will double click on it. Or if you click on it, you can just once you click on it, you can just click open. By the time I click open on that research, it gives me different informations that are on that research folder. This particular illustration I'm giving to you is just because of my own directory, my own files. On your own case, it will be different because what you have on your system is different from what I have on my system. But the objective is that you should be able to locate where the file you want to open is. So what I'm trying to do now is that the file I want to open is on my desktop. And on my desktop, I've created a folder named research. I click on that research, I open. Now, on this open research, the data I want to use is still on one particular folder, which is the folder I named Dr. Adekombi. I will click on that Dr. Adekombi and I will now come to open, I will click open. After clicking open, I still have different sections or folders. But the particular information I want to bring up is at the folder I named exchange rates. I'll click that exchange rates. After clicking on it, I'll click open. After doing that, I saw a folder, but it's not in Excel, it's in another format. Now, after I've already reached the station I want to reach, now, the next thing I'll do is that I'll come to file of type. Instead of having it as SPSS, I will come and I will click on it. Then I will trace the information to where I have Excel. Then I will click Excel. Immediately I click Excel, all the data that I have on that folder that is in Excel will come up. If you follow me as I'm explaining, you notice that before I change this file of type to Excel, the information I have on it, the file I have on it is different from what I see now. So now, in as much as I've changed to Excel, the file I'm having now is now exchange data, which is already in Excel format. If you look at it very well now, this is an Excel format. I will now click on that file.
Yes, sir.
I will now click open. Immediately I click open, this dialog box comes up. And this dialog box is the exact information I want to input, I want to call into SPSS, which is the data I'm interested in. And as I was explaining, I said, when you click on this, always look at this particular information that says read variable names from first row of data. Because from the Excel, there is a name on those columns. Those names are names of those informations you have supplied. So you also have to tell SPSS that the first row from the Excel you are importing in is referred to as the variable name. So automatically from this particular software I'm using, it will automatically checked this particular information I'm saying. So you don't have to uncheck it, you leave it the way. But the reason why I'm saying you should be checking that information is that most of the times you might be working with another version of SPSS in which that particular information here will not be checked. The moment it's not checked, automatically that variable name, that should be a variable name, it will be seeing that information as the normal data, which is wrong. So if you're working with a software, a version that does not check that particular information, what I'm trying to say is that you have to check it. But for this particular one now, it has been checked. So you don't do anything. The only thing I will just do at this section is just to click OK. The moment I click OK, that information that is on that Excel will now be automatically brought to the SPSS, as you are seeing now. So if I go back to where I have put that Excel and I click that Excel information, what you are going to be seeing there is what you are seeing on this Excel SPSS now. So that is what I've discussed earlier on, that when you are interested in inputting a particular information from Excel to SPSS, how do I go about it? The way you are going to go about it is what I've done. The only thing you just have to note is that which directory, which folder is that particular data you want to import to SPSS is located. So that is the only thing you are going to do, and that's the only thing, that's the only work you are going to do to get to this level of what I've done. So that is how that one goes. I don't know if probably I'll be able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I've got it. Thank you, sir.
All right. So if you have another question, you can ask. It's open.
Thank you very much, sir, for this teaching this evening. I just want to ask, what of if I'm not making use of a spreadsheet, if it is another tool that, let's say, maybe Power BI, is it through this same process that I'm going to follow to import my data to SPSS?
Yes, yes. If Power BI is part of the functions, let's check. Now, if I go to file now, if I go to file, I come to open and I click on data. So let's check as file type. If Power BI is part of the software that this person can take the information, you are going to see it there. But if it is not there, that means that you cannot import from Power BI to SPSS. Now, if you check it very well now, some of the softwares that you can import from to SPSS is like all this one, SPSS, PC, Portable, Excel, CSV. If you have information in text, you can also, if you have in SACS, if you have in Stata, if you have in DBase. So these are the options. Okay, I think it still goes down. Let me check. Okay, we have Lotus, we have Sky, we have. So these are the options that is here. The moment you cannot check, you cannot see the particular software you want to import from on this particular thing, so you will not be able to do it successfully. So what you just have to do is that in those cases, if from Power BI you can export to Excel, you can first of all do it to Excel, and then from Excel you can bring in it to SPSS. So you can always take it to particular software that you can see on SPSS. Then after having it in that particular software, you can now directly call it in to SPSS with the same process. So the process is the same. The only thing you have to just know is that particular software is in under the listed softwares that SPSS can take information from. So once it's there, then you are good to go, man.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes. So any other question? I believe every one of us now can easily input data into SPSS without stress.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
let's ask our question.
Yes, sir.
All right. So please, the only thing I can just advise based on my past experience is that let's practice. By the time we practice, we get to know these things, you'll see it. Very interesting. Especially for us that like research, or for us that are into education. If you know this particular software, if it is only software you can know in doing your analysis, you go a long way, because it's better to know how to do something rather than that's something that is very important to us, other than looking around or begging someone to do it for us. And the person you are even begging to do that particular thing for you might not even know it. You understand? So I only want to advise that let's take time, even if it is just 1 hour, to practice. And by the time you are doing that, it gets more interesting and interesting and interesting and interesting and interesting. Before you know it, you are an expert in it. It's not you cannot know it in a day. It takes a process. So, but take time to practice, and I believe, and I'm very sure that the feedback we are going to be getting will be encouraging. So if you have any other questions, I'm available to
Sorry,
answer.
sir. One last question, sir. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't, maybe under data or variable view, you make use of F8 and 97. Is it the total number of questionnaire? Why F8?
Now, that particular F8 is just, let me just say, it's just system assigned symbols. That F8. Okay, let me go back again. At this particular type now, we have different types. We have numeric, comma, and the likes. You know, automatically the system, they have done that one at the design level, not at this because this is just the GUI interface. There's a script underneath that is rolling on. So what they have done here is that each of these things you are seeing now has been assigned as f of something, f of something, f of something. So the F8 you are seeing when we demonstrate this information, this F8 you are seeing here is just F8 is standing as the type we have picked. We have picked numeric. So and that is where we are having F. So when you have F8, F8 here is standing as the type we have picked, which is numeric. Let me try to do something for us here. Let's assume I change this numeric now. Let's assume this age now. Let me assume I change it to let me assume I change, okay, don't let me change age. Let me say this income. Let's assume I change it to something that has to do with scientific notations. Let's assume I change scientific notation and I click OK. Now, let me come back to these variables now. Let's check. At this income now, when I click on it, you can see that the type we have now is now E8. This one is not F8 again. So those E8, F8, and the likes, is just denoting the type. Automatically, this one is having meaning. So this one, E8, is standing as the type is scientific. So F8 is referring to that the type is numeric. So those ones, you don't need to bother yourself with it. It's just the type of the variable we have selected at the time of doing the coding at the variable level. So all this particular information you're having at the variable type, they have already have some assignment name to them. So whenever I'm seeing F8, if you have been conversant with these particular operations and the likes, F8 is standing as numeric. It's just system, the way they have built the softwares and the way they have do the coding. So this just they just have a name, a particular code to differentiate them from each other. So I have tested with scientific notation to see what code will it gives us, and we have seen that E8. So if we pick another one also, it will give us another different thing. So that one does not have anything to do with the number of your respondent, doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just notations. Let me put it that way. I don't know if probably I've answered your question now.
Yes, sir. Then the 97.
Yeah, 97. Thank you, ma'am. That 97 you are seeing, when we are doing the coding, I said that there are some cases in which you are going to be, when you are inputting people's respondent information from questionnaire that have collected from the feed, maybe at the section in which the person needs to just only pick one option, he ends up picking two options. You cannot pick for the person. The moment you pick for the person, in that case, you are biased, and you must not be biased. In some cases, some might not even have picked any information, and you need the person to have picked one of the options. Because you know the person, you now pick for the person. This person is this. Doing that, you are biased. So you don't have to alter the information you have collected. So when you have cases of such, in which instead of you altering those information, what do we do? That is where the issues of missing values comes in. So at the missing values, I said this particular area is an area we assign some numbers. So the number we are going to be assigning must be a number that is far away from the number that will follow in the options we are using. And from the previous books that have been written on this particular softwares, they have been conversant with using numbers like 97, 98, 99. It is not compulsory you use 97. It's not compulsory you use 98. It's not compulsory you use 99. It's not compulsory. You can decide to use 0. You can decide to use 9. But mind you, whatever numbers you have used at the missing sections must not be number that falls into your coding. If you are coding and you assign numbers to the level you are having 9, and you have be assigning missing value to be 9, automatically every 9 you supply, even if the 9 is an option from the variable you are doing, it will automatically be seeing the 9 as missing, because you have indicated 9 in your missing section as missing values when you put 9, and you are now doing a coding and you reach options that reach 9, so it's already contradicting each other. So anybody that picked 9 in those questions, it will be seen as missing, which they are not missing. So we always use a number that is far away. And that's the answer 97, 99. So for these examples, for this class, I only just say, okay, let's assume we use 97, because it is rare and it's very difficult for you to say that you have a set of options that you are going to be coding and you to reach 97. It's not possible. I don't know, but in most cases, it's very rare. It's not possible. What do you want to list? What do you want to list that we list to 97? It's not possible. So we are using a number that no matter we list, we cannot get to that number. So it is not now, it's not compulsory, but always make use of numbers that you will never reach that level of numbering when you are listing, when you are numbering your variable questions. So in this case now, we just say, okay, anybody that is not following the way the questionnaire should have followed, maybe it has picked more than the option that is expected of him, maybe he doesn't pick anything at all, or maybe, I don't know, maybe in just cases that he has not followed the rules. He has, and instead of me now putting or giving an information myself to fit for that person, which will make a biasness at that part, then I'll put 97. So automatically the system will see it as a missing. And at the end of the day, when you are answering your questions, when you are doing your analysis, those missing observations will be shipped of the analysis, and it will be giving you the exact analysis for the valid information, calling information in such a way that information that are correctly filled by the respondent, not the ones that are omitted. So that's how you'll be able to know. And at the end of the day, you also will be able to know how many of the respondents have fallen into missing. That is, they have not supplied information that is expected of them. They are going to be aware of that. And then you're also going to be having information for the exact people that have supplied the correct information, which will be justifying your valid interpretations and the conclusion on whatever information you are trying to pass across. So that is the functions, and that is the role the missing is playing. And for 97, why we are picking 97 and what led us to pick 97 is what I've explained. I don't know if probably you understand what I've said, or maybe I've answered your question.
Very well, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Any questions before we wrap up the class? Please, if you don't have questions, there's no problem. The moment when you are practicing, if you come to a session in which you need someone, you need some guides, Mr. Mayowa is there for you. You can always send that information to him. And then if you have my contact, you can always contact me directly and share the information with me. I can always get a way around it for you. So it's not that it's only when you have classes like this you can ask questions. If you are practicing and you get stuck, you can call me, you can ask, I will answer you. So that's it.
All right. Sorry, thank you very much for your explanation. So can I go ahead and ask my own question, please? Can you hear me?
You can go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So based on Okay, so based on the explanation you just gave concerning the 97 number under the missing number, under the missing colon, like what you just explained. Okay, would I say, is it safer you just put all the values like for that missing area, that you just is it safer to put everything, to not put number? You understand what I'm trying to say? Because you said something like, if there is no it's not possible that we have a particular value that will be greater than that 95 or 97 thereabout. So we can just choose that number, if I'm not mistaken what you explained now. So is it safer we just leave everything as missing? Do you understand what I'm trying to say, sir?
Okay, I think I'm trying to get you, but let me explain very well now. You see, the work of missing is just to avoid you being biased. Or let me say bias. When I say bias, you send someone to the feed to carry out some search for you. So you have used the questionnaire. The person come back from the feed with your questionnaire.
Hello, sir. Hello, are you there? Hello, Mr. Fis.
Hello.
Hello, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I lost connection. So now what I'm trying to explain is that when you go to the feed, the person, you have some cases in which the person does not fill the questionnaire. Maybe there are some cases in which the person ought to have filled only one, and he end up just marking everything. When you have such cases, that is when missing comes in. And for missing now, what we do is that you have to assign a number. Let me say you just assign what we call outlier, numbers that are far away from your coding numbers. You know, when you have options like male, female, we have option 1, 2. When you have options that are straight to 10. So we believe that there's no options that you want to have that when you bring those options will reach 97 based on previous books, texts that they have done. So you can assign 97, 98, 99, and I'll go further by saying that it is not compulsory. You peg your assignment of missing to 97, 98, 99. You can decide on your own to pick any number. But mind you, the number you have picked or the number you are using must not surface in all the options of your coding. There are some cases I've seen that in those particular assignments, the people have went ahead and put 0 for their missings. So meaning that when they start coding, they are not using coding for 0. They start from 1. So the moment they put 0, that means that the 0 is already missing for them. But if you don't declare that 0 as missing, system will not be seeing it as missing. To be seeing it as an option too, to be seen as a value. So you must have declared that particular value at the missing column. That this value, this is what it's standing for. So once you put that value at missing, anytime you put that value on your data view, it will be seen it as missing. That is 2. The third thing is that to save your stress, instead of you putting a particular value, instead of you putting a number there, a figure there, automatically you can decide not to put anything. The moment you see that someone has picked more than 2 or have decided not to answer that question, and instead of you saying that you want to help the person to supply the information, skip it. Don't put anything. Skip it. Just leave it blank. The moment you leave it blank, automatically the system, the SPSS software, already have seen it as missing. It will put it as default missing. So whether you put a value there or you don't put a value there, it will always see it as default missing. So if putting value there will be a confusing something to you, leave it as blank. But if you want to put a value there, a figure there, always put figures that you are not going to be using in your numbering of options of questions you have in your questionnaire. So instead that you use 0, and whenever you are numbering your options on your questionnaire, your numbering is starting from 1. And thirdly is that you must have put that 0 at the missing region. You must have told the SPSS that so at the missing region that 0 is your missing. Because if you are using 0 when you are inputting your data and you have not specified at the missing section that 0 is missing, automatically the system will not be seeing it as missing. It will be seeing it as also an option. Because you must declare that particular variable as missing before you can be inputting them at your data view. So that is just the difference. So what you are just trying to do is just to just make yourself a professional. If you don't put any number there, you leave it as blank, it doesn't do anything to you. It will still give you the same results. Because automatically, the moment if an option as blank in SPSS, is seeing it as missing. So I don't know if probably my explanation have actually explained and solved the question you asked, ma'am. Let me know.
Yes, it's better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
So,
thank you so much.
Ilola, I think over to you. I think I'm done for the day. Yes.
All right, sir.
Yes.
We are super grateful for today's class. What a class. So he made mention of something. He said, practice. So as you are working over this class, please, if you encounter any problem, you can reach out to Bro Mayowa. If you need any help, please reach out to him. And we wish you all the best. And thank you for your time. I'm thanking everybody for the audience and everything. So it's close to 10. What a class this evening. Let us pray.
Yeah.
Gracious Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this class. We are grateful for fair weather, for good network. Thank you for the audience. We thank you for our tutor, for everyone that attend today's class. Say your name be glorified in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And for all that we've learned this evening, we ask the Lord you will give us speed and accuracy while practicing it in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, faithful Father.
Thank you, Jesus.
For in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Fitz.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Have a wonderful night, sir.
And you too, sir. All right, bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Okay, thank you so much. Good night.